Good evening, broadcasting live from Riversport, OKC. Welcome to the Oklahoma City Public School Coaches Show. Live here on OKC Sports Radio 105.3 and streaming live on PPBC TV. Presented by Metro Tech Technology Centers, also sponsored by Dick's Sporting Goods, Bedford Photography, Groundworks, Grinmore Sneaker Boutique, All About Now Photography, TTCU Federal Credit Union, Sam's Club, SSM Health at St. Anthony, Oklahoma City Community College, Super Prep, and Perry Publishing and Broadcasting Company. It's the 1st of February. Oh, does it give you just vibes of spring in the air? It's not spring yet, but it does give you the vibes. A rare 80-degree day here in Oklahoma City, so you know the Coaches Show has to be equally as hot tonight. This evening, we're going to open up with OKCPS District Athletic Director Eddie Wright, and then certainly but surely we will be joined by Class and SAS at Northeast Swim Team, and we'll talk to two fabulous athletes and their coach in just a moment. We're now starting the show with the AD's Corner. He started this, folks, with the name. He coined
the phrase.
He coined the phrase, and I think it's a great way to start the show. Good evening to you, Coach Wright, because you still are a coach at heart.
Yes, sir. Good evening to you.
Good evening. So a lot of things are going on in Oklahoma City Public Schools. I think it's worth noting that this school district, has not been afraid to open up and kick doors open on a lot of new sports and a lot of new open up doorways for other athletes to participate, young people to learn and get camaraderie and grow and have fun,
Sure.
Most importantly. So let's start off kind of like a district update, where we are right now. We're in the heart of winter sports right now. What's your feeling about what we accomplished in fall and where we are with winter and getting ready for spring?
No, man, and you're right, 80 degrees today makes me feel like it is spring, but unfortunately I think tomorrow we're seeing 50s again, so back at it.
Right.
One of the things, OSSAA is who governs us, right? And the very first thing that they say in their mission statement is inclusion. And in Oklahoma City Public Schools, we believe that too. And so if inclusion is going to be our mission and our vision, we've got to open up opportunities for student athletes, more than just bat and ball sports. And so I am so proud to be a part of a district who was not afraid to be on the front line of esports. And if you look at Oklahoma City Public Schools right now and our esports, we are elite in the state. We are the best district in the state with that sport. In fact, in April, we're going to be hosting the state championship again for the second year. Used to be held at Tulsa Union. We hosted it one time, and everybody said, this is a great place to do it. Let's continue here. So I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of the growth that we've seen in esports. But again, it's allowing opportunities for student athletes who may not be football, wrestling. Now they've got opportunities to compete. We've also, something that I've been really working hard over the last 4 years, to get Unified Olympics going. And if you're not familiar with Unified, it's when you take special needs students and combine them with regular needs students to participate. And we're participating against teams across the state. So, for example, we went to the soccer championship in Owasso, first time ever for Oklahoma City Public Schools, finished second as a runner-up.
Awesome.
But on the field, we have 3 what we call partners, who are supporting 3 athletes, and they compete against other teams across the state, and we took second. So it was awesome, and it's just another opportunity to get kids playing and loving this competition and loving being able to play with others.
I think that whole concept, and the more opportunities we can get to get people to come together and learn, and you mentioned the word diversity, it's always good, and it works for both boys and girls at all levels, from middle school all the way up. I think that, to me, is the part that's probably most exciting, but it's not just all male-driven sports. We've seen tremendous growth and participation now in the female aspect of it as well.
There's no doubt. In 4 years, we've seen a rise in cross-country up almost 400% since we started, and that's predominantly females. And now we've got the sport of wrestling, who is taking over winter sports in Oklahoma City Public Schools. We had an ACAC tournament a couple weeks ago, and now we have ACAC duels tomorrow. For the first time in history, we've got a men's side and a female side. And so they're going to have a tournament all to themselves. We got them a trophy, we got them medals, and it's great. They're almost up 350% in 2 years in female wrestling. So we love to see that growth. It's very important. So to me, when we talk about building culture, you define it so simple: connecting people. And how do we connect people? We give them opportunities that they're interested in. So as we've created wrestling for girls and it's been sanctioned and we're adding coach, now all of a sudden these young ladies have something to connect to. That's going to keep them in school. It's going to keep them in class. It's going to help them graduate. So that's what we want.
Also, it's kicking down doors and also breaking that glass ceiling of whatever it is and perception is about what some players can and cannot participate in. Also, getting young ladies energized to look forward to finding other things, like you said, not just bat and ball sports.
Sure.
So opening the doors to so many other things. So you're talking about what the wrestling is doing, new sports added. I mean, you guys have had meets here. I don't want to talk too much.
No, go for it.
But we're talking about River Sport, doing a great partnership with the district now. There's rowing teams.
Yes,
there are
sir.
other things going on. So what new sports are we ready to kick the door open?
Well, golf is coming. So for over the past 2 years, we've put golf equipment in every elementary student's hand in their PE class. We've done that so that they're swinging clubs for the first time and they're kind of getting a feel for what golf is like. So when they get into middle school, they're going to start having a little bit of skill. And when we get in high school, they haven't picked up a club for the first time. We're putting putting greens at each of our high schools. So far, we have 3 of them installed with 2 of them working on right now. So we'll have 5 by the end of this year. We're doing that so now we don't have to travel. We don't have to, that hurdle that we always have to climb, going to get transportation and finding a way to get to a golf course, it's no longer a hurdle. We've got it right there at their site so they can go out and chip and putt and start to learn that game. I remember putting in the first one at Douglas High School, and we got it finished on a Saturday. I came back Sunday just because I wanted to see it again. And that very next Sunday, a whole family's out there playing. And now he's a sophomore, and he made state last year. And so we're really excited to see that. And obviously, there's a need and a desire to be out there, or that thing wouldn't have been full the next day. So we're excited to offer that. The other thing, for 3 years in a row, I kept hearing, why don't we offer swim? Why don't we offer swim? I don't know why we don't offer swim. We certainly should. And so I made sure that was a goal of ours this year. We got with the Y, a great partner of ours. They opened up a pool for us. We've got 4 swim teams now created across the district. And one of them is kicking some tail. And I can't wait for you to hear about the success that they've had tonight when they get on the show.
I also want to talk about some of those partners, because one of the things is the investment on the massive school properties that the Oklahoma City Public Schools has access to, from John Marshall Middle School, where the landscape of baseball fields are being built. Talk to me about some of those investments, because you mentioned the golf courses, but some of that landscape is being reproportioned or redefined on what that area and games that can also be played. I mean, it's just wild to me how that land has been there for so long, and then Oklahoma City Public Schools is saying, now let's utilize this.
Sure.
There's a space for kids to utilize and take advantage of, and it's great for the community.
Well, and it's taken a vision, and I think that vision is simple. We can't guarantee that we're going to go compete for state titles. We can't guarantee that we're going to even make the playoffs. But what we can guarantee is we can provide first-class experiences for our kids. And so they step onto a field, and it's one that's just been done with Fields and Futures, but having our back there and creating these awesome baseball and softball fields and futsal courts, but they're done first class. They don't skip. We've got everything that anybody else would across the state of Oklahoma for our student athlete to participate. So it's amazing, and that investment is so important. But the other thing I like about our partners is it's not just a financial investment. They're there all the time with us. They invest their time. We just had a coaches clinic at SNU. SNU, another great partner. They opened the doors for us. We brought in Kevin Atlas, who's, in my opinion, one of the greatest keynote speakers of all time. He is phenomenal. And if you're not familiar with Kevin played Division I basketball with one arm. First guy to ever do that. So he has a great message to tell. But it never would have happened if those partners didn't see the importance of professional development for us. Not only did they open the doors, did they help us financially, but they're also there to participate with us. So we just have great partners everywhere.
And that's awesome. When you start talking about the landscape of esports and division, I mean, I know pickleball and tennis and other sports are already having, there was a great excitement of athletes that competed for tennis coming up in spring sports. Talk to me a little bit, if you don't mind, about the spring sports calendar. I mean, we got to talk about swim in just a minute, but baseball, softball, that is coming up. Spring soccer's coming up. But the tennis, some of those individual sports
for sure
are really already strong with Oklahoma City.
Oh, they're strong. We've got a 3-time state champion who just left our school in tennis, and we've got another male who he's going into his junior year, and he's already won a state title. And so, yeah, we've got great opportunities there. But the thing that I like about it is the growth that we have, not only in participation, but in retention. And that's key for me, because why do we want to come back? Because we enjoy it. We enjoy the staff that we've put around you. If I have student athletes coming back, I know we're doing something right. So our retention rate is going through the roof, which I love. We've got soccer starting next weekend, by the way. February 15th, we've got what's called the Clash of the Classes. It's the first time I've ever done this, but I've wanted to do it forever.
All right.
So we've got members from each and every class in the state of Oklahoma playing. From Oklahoma City Public Schools, we've got Classen SAS, Southeast and Northwest Classen. We've got Crooked Oak coming in. We've got Southmore coming in. We've got Bethany coming in. So
That's
it's going to be a great competition. Boys, they'll be playing at Taft. Girls will be playing at Spiegel. And it's just a great way to kick us off. And then the following weekend, we've got ACAC tournament. So all 16 teams will be playing and competing for a title.
Just go ahead and jump it right on off.
Forget the spring. We're ready to go now, baby. So, yeah.
Weather, of course, weather being a part of that. You know, I just like that because you mentioned something. So it's not just the experience of the high school, it's also the experience of the middle school. I really want to go back to something that you said that caught my attention. Golf clubs in elementary students' hands.
For sure.
The experiences. So often nowadays we put so much emphasis as, it's not to be negative about parents, but we put a lot of emphasis on our kids participating, but they never have that opportunity to see if they like it. They never have the opportunity to explore and say, hey, I really like this. I didn't know. And if you've ever watched any of the Oklahoma City school coaches show in the past, a lot of students said, I gave it a try for the first time, and the door was open for me to compete, and it was a first-class experience. I think that something goes overlooked often when we talk about our kids. We always wanted them, we're trying to get to the D1, we're trying to get to college. But sometimes finding that even balance between education, experience, and facilities is so hard to do, and Oklahoma City Public Schools offers it in an array of things.
Yeah, for sure. And exposure is key there, and that's what we're trying to do, is expose them to the sport of golf, because I know that golf, they may not be successful going to the state playoffs or whatever the case may be, but putting a golf club in somebody's hands, getting them to walk a course for 4 or 5 hours with somebody, social skills are taught. Greeting people, looking them in the eye, shaking their hand. There's so many life skills that can be taught through the game of golf. And then they graduate and they get a job. They're going to go play a scramble one day for that job. They're going to go to a company tournament. We're building opportunities for them to be better adults. And that's the name of this game. Create better husbands and fathers and wives and mothers. That's what we want to do here.
We want to build that and put that right back here in the community.
For sure.
Now, the last thing, you have this thing called the 50% plan.
Yes, sir.
What break that down for me.
So currently we have 28% participation in Oklahoma City Public Schools across athletics. Now, I want to make sure that athletics is not always our focus, because I believe any sort of group that they can get into, if we could get every student connected to something, chess club, drama club, if we don't have a cooking class, create a cooking class, because that connection is going to get an adult that's now a trusted adult. So if I have something going on in my life, I have somebody there to talk to. I have somebody there to tell a story to if I need to. So anything that they can get connected to is important. 28% right now. By 2030, I would like to have 50% participation in Oklahoma City Public Schools. How do we go about doing that? We continue to grow esports. We continue to put new sports in, like swim, Project Unified, which that's going to take off. Then we make sure that the sports that we're already having success with, we continue to grow, we continue to retain student athletes, and where we see there's issues, like, I'm going to give you an example, Northwest Classen, we've got 120 soccer players out there. First, we don't have the facilities for it. I can't get enough coaches for it, so now we've got to come up with a plan, because I don't want to turn any of those away. The more people we have participating, the more graduation rate goes up, the more success we have life after high school. So 50% participation by 2030.
I am deeply moved by that number, because I just think that is a way to, as you said, connection. The connection the community has with the schools is something that generations are built on. You know, I was a graduate of X school or school Y, and we played this and it was great, and then you're expanding your family, because oftentimes your number one competitor also becomes your friend.
Absolutely.
And the families get connected. It's not always, I know we put so much weight on wins and losses, we really do, and often those are important factors. Yes, they are. However, the development of young men and young women is equally as important.
There's no doubt. I truly believe that better people make better ... Better people make better comments. And once we get those going, if I'm a better person, I'm a better teammate. If I have better teammates, I'm a better team. And now we lead to the wins and losses. They take care of themselves. But we got to create great people. We do that through connections. And I'm excited to see us get to that point.
Last question, in terms of coaches that you get calls from looking for jobs coming into the district, how excited are you about picking up the phone call or looking in your inbox and your email about coaches that have been maybe on the private sector looking to try to get in because they didn't know that Oklahoma City Public Schools is doing that, and that raises the bar on the quality of coaches, which brings the quality of people participating also help lead these programs.
That's so important, and you're going to see when you get this next group to the table. Coach Tiff is so passionate about what she does. I knew that in the first conversation that I had, and then the next 5 emails we had. I know she's passionate about this, and when you find that passion, you're willing to care for the kids. They see that, and they're going to work really hard for you. So that's the one thing we've done is we brought in coaches and we put them in spots. I'm not doing it because your resume and how many games you've won. I'm doing it because what are you going to add to these kids' lives? Can you connect with them? Can you make them better people? And if you can, we found the right spot for you. And I think we're tremendously successful right now putting the right coaches in place. And Coach Tiff's going to be a great example of that in just a minute.
Well, we're going to look forward to talking to her. In fact, we're going to go to her now. Is there any other comment that you would like to make? And I just want to put this out there that this definitely will have to be something we add, the AD Coaches Corner here on the Coaches Show. But it's been a joy to watch the participation on this show itself, the creation that started off, you were a part of the building of this show, and watching how it has helped give students another thing that they need to learn, to be able to talk about themselves, their lives, their teams, and that experience. How proud are you of what this kind of experience also brings to them?
It's done exactly what I had wanted it to do. We wanted to highlight our kids, not just on the court, but the things that they could do off. And you've seen, we've had middle school kids who've set up here, and we could tell right now, you've got a future in radio or TV if
right,
you want.
Yes.
And it's so amazing to see that. And then you see a quiet one that you never would have thought would come up and speak, and all of a sudden a smile hits them and they get on stage. And I mean, it's been awesome. And for my coaches as well, the coaches really enjoy being here because they get a chance to talk publicly about their kids and the great successes that they have. And so it's just been great. I appreciate you guys doing it.
Now, this is just an invitation. So if you are looking for your child to find a breakthrough experience, maybe try something different that is not necessarily called a bat or a ball sport, look no further than Oklahoma City Public Schools. They are leading the way in breaking new grounds in terms of giving kids positive experiences that turn them into wonderful adults and helpful participants in our communities. This is the Oklahoma City Public School Coaches Show, right here on OKC Sports Radio 105.3, and also streaming live on PPBC TV, presented by Metro Tech Technology Centers, also sponsored by Dick's Sporting Goods, Bedford Photography, Groundworks, Grenmore Sneaker Boutique, and All About Now Photography, TTCU Federal Credit Union, Sam's Club, SSM Health at St. Anthony, Oklahoma City Community College, Super Prep, and Perry Publishing and Broadcasting Company. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we're going to go swimming, y'all. Welcome back to the Oklahoma City Public School Coaches Show.
Let's go, Coach!
Right here on OKC Sports Radio 105.3 and streaming live on PPBC TV. Presented by Metro Tech Technology Centers, also sponsored by Dick's Sporting Goods, Bedford Photography, Groundworks, Grenmore Sneaker Boutique, All About Now Photography, TTCU Federal Credit Union, Sam's Club, SSM Health at St. Anthony, OCCC, Super Prep, and Perry Publishing and Broadcasting Company. Maurice Prince, your host for this evening once again. Michael McDaniel will make his return later on in the month. He always has something going on in the month of love, and we still continue to support him. You heard from District Athletic Director Eddie Wright, but now it's time to go poolside to the cool people in the pool from Class and SAS Northeast Swim Team. I am joined at the table, student athlete, of course, Bentley Mendoza, Eleanor Early. I want to make sure I got that right, but we're going to change that. And of course, head coach Tiffany Boer. Good afternoon or good evening to everybody. Thank you for joining me on the show tonight. So Ellie, I'm going to come to you first. How long have you been competing in swimming?
I've been competitive swimming since about 5th grade, so 4 years now.
4 years. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to bring that right to you, Bentley.
Well, I've been competitive swimming since the start of the season, so in October, but I also did it when I was younger, from like 5 to 10.
Okay, so I'm glad you cleared that up for me because my first reaction was, were you introduced to the pool and just jumped into this? Okay, I just had to ask that question. So both of you came into the sport today with this team being formed. What was your thoughts about that when you first heard that there was a swim team being formed? Either one of you can answer first.
I was super excited because I really wanted to get back into swimming going to high school, and hearing that we had a swim team throughout this through the school, I was super pumped. I was like, dang, I'm so ready.
Ellie, what about you?
Yeah, I had the same feelings of excitement. I was definitely hearing rumors about it in my 8th grade year, and I was just incredibly anxious to make sure that we had one. And as soon as they were like, we have a swim team, I was like, sign me up, please.
Okay. Hey, I love that. The energy, Coach Booher, as we're talking this evening, you got the call. You became this swim coach,
Yeah.
So talk to me about that. You got this, you were presented this opportunity, and then you get to meet energy like this.
Yes, it is always number one about the kids, the enrichment of their lives, just bringing swim to the school. I know a lot of the students, they do multiple sports. I think swim is amazing to contribute to the success of other sports too. They kind of go hand in hand. You've got to control your breathing. It's just, I was thinking to myself, this is going to be interesting to see how many kids are able to do swim, given they are in basketball, they're in volleyball, they are in tennis as well. But these fall sports, they work so well in conjunction with swim because it's a little bit of a break. Say if you're going from volleyball to then tennis, and you keep your endurance up. You do, and just getting to work with them, knowing where they all come from, it's been special to me.
So tell me, I feel the energy as you are talking here. Tell me about that very first meeting with the team, and it all came together. What was that like?
It was great, actually. One of my questions that I asked, I said, okay, so how many of you all have swam before? And everybody's like, choop, hands in the air. I'm like, oh, sweet. Okay. Not just like currently, but have before. And then there were some that hadn't. So knowing that we were working with all types of skill levels there, it was going to be great. We had a couple lanes at the pool, so it was easy to navigate. And just knowing that we could take someone from not being able to be comfortable with putting her head underwater, and then also working with the kids that are going, can we go harder? It's all about that coaching skill level there. So that was fun.
So what do you guys most enjoy about being a part of the swim team?
I definitely enjoy the competition, the meets we go to. They're just they're very long, but they're so much fun because you get to spend like hours with all your friends just sitting there, and you're talking, and then you go to your events, and it's race, and it's like a whole experience, and it's amazing.
Ellie?
I love the competitions. I really like just a lot of the people. When I joined the swim team, I knew who they were, but I didn't know them super personally, and so the experience of getting to go to practice with them and just build like a really awesome community full of everyone who's willing to support each other was definitely an amazing experience.
Coach, can you help me understand what's the difference for those who are listening or have not thought about this? What's the difference between individual competition in swimming and team swimming?
So individual competition. So in swimming, you're going to have your individual events, right? And then you're also going to have your relay team. So us being a team, we go for points, right? So you can bring points to the table with your individual events, and then also within a team. And our relay teams aren't the same every time, so it's fun just to mix them up and let them know what they're going to do that day, right? I'm like, but we are a team, so they're excited no matter what. They're like, oh, neat. Am I going first? What event am I swimming? Am I butterfly? Am I this, that? So it's funny the way swim is. It's very different than other sports, because you take tennis, and you take basketball and combine them, and that's kind of what you're doing, because you're doing both. You're out there alone and you're out there with your team.
So that's great. So early in the season, how many meets have you participated in so far this season?
Oh gosh, guys, how many have we? Because swim's a little different. I can get a call on a Thursday night and be like, hey, you guys want to come up to Ponca City on Tuesday or Thursday? We've got this and that, but we started, I believe, maybe 10.
Yeah, it's 10.
About 10.
We've been to
So no way. So let me make sure I get this right. So 10 was on the original schedule,
Yeah.
and then other opportunities opened up. Oh, okay.
Yes. Networking is a thing. Well, this is our first year,
Sure.
so I hadn't. There was no list of schools that are doing it. It just cold calling, saying, "Hey, you guys throwing a meet? Will you throw us in?" We're not OSSAA approved yet, but after this first year under our belt, I'm pretty sure we can get there. And they're like, absolutely. Everybody's so friendly, and going to each meet, you network, and it's not a thing to be like, all right, well, we got one next week. You want to come?
Right. Now,
No.
that being said, now I want to hear from the athletes about this, but I'm coming to you first, Coach. But I have to ask. So, I mean, the meets that you're saying started off as 10, getting extra invites, cold calling, getting involved. But you guys have kind of developed a little bit of a reputation. Talk to me about what's been happening at these meets that you're getting into.
Yeah, so we, like I said, it is a point system, and so the more swimmers we have, then the more opportunities we have to make points, right? So say if we had triple the amount of swimmers, which I do predict that happening, because we are paving ways here. It's been a lot of fun. Just the standings that we have with our small group, if we had triple that, we would absolutely be winning some meets. So it's one of those things. We go and we compete against our own times. We know that we're not going to have be the school with the most points because we don't have the swimmers. You're only allowed to do 2 individual and 2 relays.
Okay, I got you.
If I could throw them into 4 or 5, I would.
Right. But you got to go by what the rules
Absolutely.
say. I understand that. So, Ellie, what has been the most, the best meet that you've participated in thus far?
Ooh, I'm
Your-
gonna have. Let me think. I would say. I have to go through which ones everyone has been at. We recently had one where we went to Hera, and that was our first time there. And I absolutely loved that meet. The pool, we all kind of bonded over this. The pool was very hard to get out of. It has like a ledge, and then it slants upward and kind of into the pool area, and then like the ground. And so getting in and out of the pool was really fun and funny.
Okay. So the overall, it was just the environment and the way the pool was designed. And I'm sure you get to see several different types over the course of that. Bentley, what's been your favorite meet?
So I think my favorite meet was the last meet we went to in Mitch Park, which is the Edmond City Y. And probably like the favorite part about that meet was I finally got to do a relay. That's the last meet of the season I finally got to do one because there's only 2 boys on our team, and with most meets, it's only there you need 4 people of like one gender to do a relay, and we only have 2 boys. But on the last meet, we had a mixed relay, so we had 2 girls and 2 boys on that relay team, and it was
that's
just
awesome.
so much fun. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So, Bentley, what is your favorite stroke or event? Was it the relay?
So, if I could do it more, maybe. But my favorite event is the 200 IM. So it's 50 fly, 50 back, 50 breast, 50 free. And usually I like faster events like 100s, but the 200 is just like a mix of everything, and I think it's pretty fun.
Ellie's favorite event or stroke?
Ooh, okay. My favorite event, I'm a short course swimmer, so it was at first the 50 freestyle, and Coach Tiff during one of our meets decided she helped me. It was actually the Hera meet. She pushed me out of my comfort zone and was like, nah, you're doing the 100. We need you in this event. And I said, okay. And I went in there and I was like, that was actually really fun. So it's definitely developed into the 100 freestyle.
Kicking in some new doors. Coach, talk to me about when we start talking about preparation and we talk about training, what does a training session typically look like for swimmers?
So we will warm up with some dry land mobility, stretching, getting our shoulders hot, doing a lot of blood restriction, keeping them elevated above the heart. That way, when they put their hands down, then a mass amount of blood flow goes to them, because you got to protect shoulders in swimming. You just have to. So after the dry land warm up, we'll then do a little bit of strength training, maybe like some planks and stuff like that, push-ups, and then we're in the pool. We start off with just easy swims, and then just back and forth. They could choose what they want. So it's 20 meters down, 25 meters down, 25 back. So they'll do a few 100s, and then they'll put a float between their legs, arms only, and then they'll have a board and do legs only, and then it's time to go to work. We have them Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so it's kind of fun because the meets are on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So they often look for oh, we got days off. I'm like, oh no, this is an active recovery day. So it just depends. We've never taken a day off. No, that's not a thing, other than when the school closes for inclement weather, of course. But yeah, it just depends on where the meet lies, as far as, are we doing endurance? Are we sprinting that day? Are we working technique? Some days we'll do fun games. So that's a riot to watch. They really get into it. It's so competitive.
So when we start talking about pre-race, I mean, I've watched the Olympics, and you watch, the Olympic sprinters, they shake a leg, they kind of, move the shoulders around, try to get all loose. So Ellie, what is the pre-race ritual? Is there a set of things that you do before that get you ready right there at that moment?
Typically, you're definitely gonna want to stretch, especially because, like Bentley said, meets are incredibly long, so there's going to be time in between each of your events. So definitely stretching all of your arms and legs again and warming yourself up, jumping around. Typically, if I get super nervous, I'm like shaking out my hands and my feet. But that's kind of what goes into it, yeah.
Okay. Bentley, well, come on, pre-race ritual.
So like 15, 20 minutes before our race, every single time. So I also do cross country, and every single time before I race, I always use the restroom. It's like I have to. It's like
Okay.
I cannot race
Okay.
without using the restroom.
Hey.
I feel like I drop a couple pounds.
And I am sure the pool thanks you.
Yeah, that's literally every time. That's my pre-race workout or ritual.
Okay, all right. Well, that's all right. So, Ellie, you mentioned pre-race pressure and nerves. How are you dealing with that over the course of the season, and how has it, when it started, and where has it progressed to now?
Definitely, it started like way back when my first swim meet. I thought I was gonna throw up behind the block. It was awful. I was like, oh no. But over the course of every meet, I've learned kind of like what helps that slow down, what helps that stop. Definitely, like 5 minutes before my meet or my race, I'm making sure that I haven't like eaten anything too heavy, and then I'm taking minimal sips of water, because definitely when you're moving around and kicking, it's just the same as running right after you ate. It's not fun. It feels bad. So definitely like having an empty but energized stomach and making sure I'm really stretched so I don't pull anything helps calm me down and make sure nothing's gonna go wrong.
Bentley, so I'm almost scared to ask, but I'm going to progress in this direction. So if nerves had been an issue at the beginning, or pressure at the beginning, how have you felt? Because when you first said you came back, you're like, hey, sign me up. I want to be a part. I'm interested in this. But it's with anything that you compete in, there is always a level of some kind of anxiety. So where did it start, and where is it now?
So when I think it goes back to all the way when I like started doing competitive swimming when I was 6 years old. It was like I didn't know how to handle stress when I was 6 years old, and I would just like freak out. And so I would I had to like get into like this, like I'd like basically shut my mind off right before I go into my race, just not think about anything. That's what I do. As soon as I step up onto the block, it's like I shut my mind off, and that's like pretty much why I use the restroom, so I'm not thinking about that either. I just have a completely blank mind, and then I just go in.
And an empty bladder.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
Now, Coach mentioned that there are some experienced swimmers folks who have been participating in swimming a long time, but then on your team you had some folks who are just really learning about that. How did you support them to make them feel comfortable, because both of you had pool experience and felt very comfortable? So if someone's saying, well, I would, but I'm not comfortable, how did you make them feel better about who they were on the team?
So we had a swimmer, her name was, can I name drop?
No, that's not name
Okay,
drop.
so we had a swimmer and she hadn't like swum much before or any, but she would come to practice like pretty much every day and she'd always be like committed to like swimming. Even if she wasn't like swimming with the entire crew, she was still swimming very consistently. And and like seeing her do that, like be there in like all the time. And sometimes she would go to meets, but she wouldn't participate. Like giving her like motivation to keep on going was like something that like
Helped her along.
Yeah.
Ellie, I mean, how did you try to help those who have been struggling? Because not everybody is a fish. Okay, some of us, are guppies and float. Like me, I float. But how did you help influence them?
So a lot of the times they'll be like, okay guys, we're gonna do this kind of hard thing, and people are like, no, I can't do it. And I'm like, hey, I'll do it, but you have to do it with me. Like, we're gonna do flip turn, and they're like, I don't want to do my backstroke flip turn, and I'm like, neither do I, but let's do it together, and that makes it a little bit easier on us. So definitely offering to do it with them.
Coach, this is awesome. This is awesome.
They're
I mean,
great.
so when you have athletes that's willing to support and help their teammates, because not everybody knows whether they like swimming or not. They may not have been exposed to it. So when you have things like that, talk to me a little bit about what kind of tone that sets from the team leaders. You have a boy and a girl, or, a male and a female, both talking about this and the impact it has. That's got to be exciting.
Yeah, you said the perfect word there, impact. It's not about, what the sport does for them or what we do for them. It's a trifecta. It's about the inclusion of each other, supporting one another, and whether we go out there and we win a meet or not, or, if you can even breathe, swimming. That's not the point. The point is that we're all there and we're working towards this one goal, and that's to be better versions of ourselves. There's a lot of teaching moments in swimming, and you got to be brave to do it, because the pools are deep. Okay, and if you've never swam before, then you're going to be nervous, and that's okay. Like going back to what you said about the nerves of them being back behind the blocks. At the start of the season, I'd say about 2/3 through, I realized that now Gabe and we don't need to go back behind the blocks because they're in their heads, or they look a certain way, and we'd go back there and be like, okay, well, this is the game plan. This is what you go in there with the game plan, and remember that you come out at this pace, and then on that last 25, we're going to kick it into high gear. Once they get with the plan, then they're good to go, and they've learned to do that now. Now we don't have to be back there. Now we can be there with their timers and being like, yes, you made a PR. They're like, yes, and they're looking up there real fast because they know.
Guys, you got to tell me, is she this animated, or is she even more animated at a meet?
Oh, more in a minute. She's so loud. Oh my gosh. Like, sometimes I'll be swimming and I can literally only hear her.
Yes!
She has achieved the goal of every coach. I have entered. Yeah, I have entered that. So, what personal achievement are you most proud of, Ellie?
Definitely, I'm not sure how it happened, but my last couple of meets, I got all new PRs on, I think, all of my races, and just that feeling when you're like, oh my gosh, I just did that. It's just so amazing that you thought you were doing your best and then you get better. It's so awesome.
That might have some reason why she said you need to go 100 meters. Bentley, what are you most proud of?
So at the very beginning of the season, swimming like more than like 100 yards was like difficult for me. Like it was a struggle. I would have to like take like a minute or two like of rest, and building that endurance to swim like so much longer. Like I can swim like so much longer, like 500 yards like straight, I'm proud of myself for building that endurance up.
Okay. Coach, everybody has goals. Obviously, you got more than what you probably thought with this group. It's easily, I can see that. So when you started off with the goal and versus where this season has gone and has ended and all the challenges that you may have faced, what did you think at the beginning, and where does it end up right now, or where is it right now with you?
Right. So I didn't have really any expectations. I mean, you can't whenever you don't have a program yet. And I just know that I wanted to make it successful for the kids, get them some meets under their belts, know them, get to know their strengths and weaknesses too, because they go hand in hand, and just see what we can do with the program in the future. Now that we have our cornerstone, now I know what we can do, and the sky's the limit. I mean, these kids are amazing. They're completely open to getting outside of their comfort zone. They're, like he said, he couldn't swim that before. Now he's doing sets. You know, I've got an assistant coach, Coach Gabe, and he swam for Oklahoma Christian University, and he knows all the ins and outs. I actually met him through this guy named Ali who swam in the Olympics for Egypt, and so they went to school together. And I said, I need you. Let me take you to lunch. Let's sit down. Let's talk. You know, and he's like, absolutely, let's do it. And Coach Gabe is great, is he not?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
amazing.
yes.
He's
coach.
amazing. And when we go to meets, everybody's like, oh, y'all got Coach Gabe. I'm like, yes. Yes, we do. And we're
Yes.
keeping him.
Now, as you made a comment right when this segment began, and I kind of want you to elaborate a little bit as we're starting to run out of time here. You talked about this is a good in-between sport, meaning that if you are a basketball player, it's between that. If you're a cross-country runner, it's between that. In other words, it's the sport that can bind you in between. So for those other athletes who are saying, well, I need something different,
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit more about what those
Sure.
differences
It's
are?
definitely a segue. If you just want to keep up, because you have off season, you have in season, but I mean, coming from someone who went from volleyball to basketball to tennis, am I going to do this track meet, or am I going to this tennis match? It's so good for the students just to keep going. You just got to keep going, because I don't think there should be off season. I mean, these kids. And when you're an athlete, you're an athlete. And when you're not, I mean, even swimming is a great, just get your foot in the door to be an athlete. Because what does it do? It holds them accountable academically. It builds relationships. It keeps them out of trouble.
It does do that. As we run out of time, Bentley, I want to give you an opportunity to thank some people for supporting you. Your thoughts about that. I wanted to give you a chance to do that.
Let me think. So probably thanks to my dad.
Okay, you got to know his name because everybody says
Oh.
that. I want to thank my dad.
Yeah, I want to thank my dad, Leo.
All right, there you go, Dad Leo. Yeah.
So he originally, I wouldn't say get me into swimming. He forced me into swimming, but it's okay. I ended up loving it. So he swam, and he was also a coach, and he was an official, and so he's all the experience in swimming, and he's kept me motivated. And when I get a new PR, he always celebrates me and gives me a big hug, and he tells me if he comes to see my meet, he's like, this is something that you could improve on, and I take that and I take it to practice, and then I improve on it, and he's my biggest supporter when it comes to swimming.
Awesome. Ellie, I'm gonna give you the same. Just say the names. Don't just do mom and dad. Just say the names.
Well, my mom, Christina.
Yes, Christina. Yay.
I want to thank her. She was like, I don't care what sport you do, but you have to do a sport, because I was not into sports at the time, and I was like, well, I like water. Is swimming a sport? And she said, yep, and she signed me up, and she got me into it, and she's been my #1 supporter. She's always making sure she has my times down, and she's just really amazing.
Coach, I have to give that same platform to you. Is there anyone you'd like to thank? You know, maybe like the district athletic director who came up.
He's quite wonderful, isn't he? He knows his stuff, and he's driven and focused, and he helps us for sure.
What about the school community? Yeah, I was going to say that.
Exactly, and it goes down the line. You've got to have a great leader to have, great programs. So it starts there, right? And then it comes down to my athletic director that we have at the school, and his name is Chris Gurman, and he's completely supportive and helps us, us first time new coaches who I'm not in the school, I don't teach. Right, so there's a lot of logistics that need to happen, and he's got his hands full with being a full-time teacher and athletic director, but he's always there. And then the parents, they always get them where they need to be. Swimming's different. We don't practice at the school. We have to go from the school to the YMCA, right? And so they take them there, and they pick them up, and they're always at meets. And I think that as far as the last that I'll thank is definitely the kids for their dedication and their hearts in it, and their focus, their mindset is just exceptional.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know it sounds like we've been talking about basketball and football, but we've been talking about the pool, the energy, and this is the swim team. Come and get some of this because it's that exciting to be a part of.
It is so fun out of me.
I want to make sure we thank everybody, but this has been the Oklahoma City Schools Public Schools Coaches Show right here on OKC Sports Radio 105.3 and streaming live on PPBC TV, presented by Metro Tech Technology Centers, Dick's Sporting Goods, Bedford Photography, Groundworks, Grinmore Sneaker Boutique, All About Now Photography, TTCU Federal Credit Union, Sam's Club, SSM Health at St. Anthony, OCCC, Super Prep, and Perry Publishing and Broadcasting Company. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening, and we will be back soon with another fresh edition of the Oklahoma City Public School Coaches Show. Have a great sports night. Yeah.